Guys, the question is, did you enjoy Deep Breath? Hello everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Non-Narrative Stream. My name is Connor and today I'm going to be reviewing Series 8 Episode 1 of Doctor Who, which is Deep Breath. So when we last left off, the TARDIS was basically hurtling through time as Matt Smith just regenerated into Peter Capaldi, who has no idea how to fly the TARDIS, and neither does Jenna Coleman's character Clara. So basically, the TARDIS is hollowing through Earth, and we start this episode in Victoria, London, where we see a giant T-Rex, which seems to be coughing on something, which actually turns out to be the TARDIS. The TARDIS has actually been swallowed by a T-Rex and somehow magically taking it back into Victoria, London, where a dinosaur is now running rapid, and the Passenger gang obviously see this and know that it is the Doctor, and that is how our story begins. The plot for this story is some people are getting murdered all over Victoria, London, especially the dinosaur who actually gets burnt, and it's kind of up to the Doctor. He kind of takes it as his own kind of personal response, because he did bring the dinosaur there to kind of find out who did murder the dinosaur as it does get set on fire and die, because the creatures actually needed some parts. I'll get to the creatures in a second, but you know, this is kind of the Doctor's kind of thing which he needs to figure out, so he goes out trying to figure it out, and kind of leaves Clara for most of the episode. Now, Clara in this episode is actually really good, and she is the reason why this episode flows quite well, because she is kind of the audience. The audience is thinking, I'm not thinking this person, but a lot of people in the audience will think he's too old, he's not good enough, he's not the Doctor, and that's kind of what Clara is thinking, and it's kind of the audience in perspective as Clara, and she has to ask a lot of questions which of course the audience would be asking, and I think they use that to a great advantage, because Stephen Moffat must have known a lot of people were going to miss Matt Smith, and using Clara as that kind of character really did help. The Passenger gang are back with Jenny, Strax and Vastra, and I do believe they'll use in this episode really quite well. Of course, they're in the Victorian London, which is a good setting. To be honest with you, it wouldn't be my first choice, the place where I actually had the first episode of Peter Capaldi, but it definitely was a good place to be, and it was great to see the Passenger gang back again, with Strax being funny as usual. Didn't really get used that much, which I think was a good thing. Jenny and obviously Vastra, who are the married couple, but I think particularly Vastra got used in this episode a bit more than anybody else out of the Passenger gang. Now, as far as the Doctor goes, I think Peter Capaldi is a brilliant Doctor. Seriously, I'm in love with him already. You know, a lot of people are saying what his catchphrase is. I personally think it's going to be question, which he does say a lot. He says, do you have any idea how to fly this thing? Like, question is, do you have any idea how to fly this thing? Question is are there any similar murders? You know, he questions quite a lot of things and he says that. So what I'm guessing is that his kind of catchphrase as such is going to be question, which I'm not too bothered about that. I do like that. Now, him as a Doctor, I really do enjoy. He changes suits throughout the episode. It's kind of like him loading. Like, he starts off in Matt Smith where he's loading a little bit, then he goes into a kind of nightgown where he's still loading, then a tramp, still loading, then he goes into kind of like a tuxedo loading, and finally into his real clothes, and that is him finished. And you know, he changes clothes throughout the episode, and it was done quite well. Now, the villain wasn't a huge part of this episode. It was, but then it wasn't, you know. The episode was more to see how Peter Capaldi would react to his surroundings and all that. The villain, I thought, sometimes was a bit weak. We didn't get to see him as much, but as far as the half-faced man goes, I thought it was a cool character, and it was kind of the clockwork droids and all that. And what I really did enjoy in this episode is how Peter Capaldi was trying to remember, you know, and actually did like mention with, like, obviously when in France when we saw the clockwork robots last in series 2 written by Stephen Moffat, the girl on the fireplace, which was a good episode. I did enjoy it, and to see the clockwork robots back but Peter Capaldi not really understanding who they were because he has like kind of forgotten a lot of stuff, that was good as well. I think they were good characters. At points I thought they were a bit weak, and the other characters which you saw, we saw some more clockwork robots, but the only one we really got to see up close was the half-faced man, and I wish we kind of saw a bit more of him. I do think it's awesome how he took off his own hand and there was like a massive fire, he had like a fire weapon on his hand. That was really well done. As far as writing goes in the episode, I think it was well done. I don't think it was as good as 11th Hour. I was kind of looking at 11th Hour and looking at Deep Breath and kind of matching them up together, which isn't exactly the good thing, but I think 11th Hour did really well, and Deep Breath did do very well, but not as good as 11th Hour. I really think they hit the nail on the head with 11th Hour. They did it well here, but not probably as good as Matt Smith. As far as the directing went, I thought it was really well done, really good, and I'm really happy to know this director's going to be directing episode 2. And I'm just happy about that, because seriously, the directing this, there was some really, really good shots, and it was well done. Now, of course, the resolution is Clara and the Doctor kind of get back together again. Clara actually goes to leave because she doesn't really know who the Doctor is anymore, and it's really realistic, you know. I didn't really want it to be like that. Like, seriously, if Clara got into the TARDIS with Peter Capaldi and then went off into space, it wouldn't be realistic. She would be, like, questioning who he is and all that. and as she went outside the TARDIS, she got a phone call, and it was from Matt Smith, and he did do a cameo in this episode. I thought this was good, but a little bit unneeded for Matt Smith to actually be in the episode, because I kind of think it's not a good way to introduce Peter Capaldi while showing Matt Smith as well, because the other one in the theatre, I did go see it at the cinema actually, and this is where I got the poster from. The other one in the theatre was obviously so happy to see Matt Smith, but you know, it's Peter Capaldi's episode, it's his, it shouldn't be Matt Smith's. I reckon they should have possibly maybe just done the audio or shown him just a little bit, but not as much as they did. Don't get me wrong though, I did enjoy seeing Matt Smith in the episode, and it was a nice touch, and how he fixed the phone and all that, and seeing Clara like react all happy now because she knows that it actually was the Doctor who did it, and it was a good ending. And as it seems, she goes off to get coffee, and then the Doctor actually leaves, and then it goes into the Dalek, as we can see in the next time trailer, which I have reacted to, and it will be out very soon. Now let's discuss the ending, which didn't really make much sense, but I'm really like, whoa, when I saw it. Seriously, it was really good. So basically, at the end of the episode, we get to see the half-faced man kind of landing inside a garden, and then we get to see a very interesting character. And no one even knows who this character is. People are saying it's from a song, people are saying it's a female master. People are also saying it might be the Rani. I don't really know, to be honest. I have no idea. But seriously, this character was pretty cool. And then she says, guess where we are? She says, we are in heaven. And as you probably can recall, the last episode of Series 8 is called Death in Heaven. So I have no idea how this is going to work, but hopefully it'll be good. So what I'm guessing is, I don't know, maybe every single creature that the Doctor defeats in this episode, in episodes, when they die, maybe they go to this place, and at the end, there'll be a huge army of like people coming back to fight him, or his old enemies that he's defeated through the season. To be honest, I wouldn't really want that, because I think it would get a bit overhandled. Like, seriously, Moffat likes to take a lot of characters in one episode, and it just turns into not really goodness, you know? Seriously, it wouldn't. So whatever the heaven place is, I have no idea. But I was intrigued by it, and seriously, I'm going along with it. So hopefully, they don't mess that up. But it definitely did get me. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I cannot wait till next week, seriously, guys. All in all, I'll give Deep Breath an 8 out of 10. I did enjoy it a lot. I saw it at the cinema. It was a great experience. I did enjoy it quite a lot. And you know, I thought it was a pretty standard episode, definitely a good one for Peter Capaldi to come back in, and like I said, I can seriously not wait till next week. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is Connor from The Reviews. Please, in the link description, tell me what you thought about the episode. Please hit a like and please subscribe for more reviews. I will be back next week with Into the Dalek. Also, there will be a Let's Watch out this week for Deep Breath when I went to see it at the cinema with Aiden. There will also be a reaction video, and there will be a topic video for Into the Dalek. But don't worry, if you're not a fan of Doctor Who, there will be other videos as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Connor from The Reviews, and I hope you guys enjoy Deep Breath. Catch you later, guys. Bye-bye.